Happy Thursday, CFS. So today's durability is going to be 2 rounds. We have a 60-second bike or row. Of course, you could substitute that with like a run or the stairs or basically anything that just gets your heart rate up. Then we have a 30-second side plank on the right and the left. 60 seconds back on the bike or row or whatever variation of cardio, and then 30-second alternating bird dog. So obviously the bike and the row is pretty self-explanatory. Quickly review the side plank and the bird dog. I'm going to be like moving this camera all over the place, so just prepare yourself for some horrible camera work, okay? So side plank, we just want to make sure that our elbow is stacked directly underneath our shoulder. Then we're going to push our hip up, right? Keep our abs nice and tight. So hold for 30 seconds, switch to the other side. Those bird dogs, we're in a tabletop position. Okay. Wrists underneath the shoulders, knees underneath the hips. We're going to extend one arm, opposite leg. And when we do this, the goal is to try and not to shift our hips from one side to the other. So abs nice and tight, extend one arm, opposite leg, maybe a little pause, and then bring it back to center. And then same thing on the other side, extend, and then back to center, okay? So try to do those slow. A lot of times people just tend to like rush right through them. All right, so our workout for today is really just kind of about quality movement, just picking some like odd movements that work different things that we haven't really like made a ton of attention to. So I would just recommend taking this workout relatively slow at like, I don't know, maybe 70% effort. Of course, if you're looking for intensity, once you get the feel for the movements, you can speed it up and definitely make it more intense. But it's really supposed to be just kind of a blood flow, kind of like a feel-good kind of workout, okay? So 20-minute AMRAP, we have 5 squats with thoracic rotation, 10 yoga push-ups, 15 prisoner king squats, 20 Turkish sit-ups, that's going to be 10 on each side, and then 25 banded lat pull-downs, all right? So I'm going to start going through these movements. The first one is those squats with the thoracic rotation. I'm going to be really honest, I have horrible mobility with this, so it's not going to be pretty, but you'll get the general idea. So coming down into a squat, sitting into the bottom of our squat, and then rotating open, okay? And then we're going to go on the other side. This one's the tight side, okay? Yeah, that's bad. All right, stand up, come back down, and then repeat, okay? So our next movement is going to be those yoga push-ups. So I'm going to show you that and bring the camera down with me. So if anybody's ever done yoga before, this is typically called chaturanga. So if that makes sense to you, that's pretty much what we're doing. So we're starting in a push-up position. We're going to push our hips nice and high, and I'll show you from the side too. Then we're going to come through our arms into like a dip position, and then our back is going to come down into like a press up position, okay? Then we're going to push our hips back up and repeat. So from the side, okay, we start in a push-up position, push our hips up nice and high, come down and through into a press up, and then hips back nice and high, okay? So those are not terribly easy, I'll be honest with you, especially if you do them right. Careful not to sink into your lower back. Okay. Next movement is going to be the prisoner king squats. So this is going to be doing 2 things, hitting your lower back, and it's also going to be opening up your hips because you'll be in a nice wide stance. Okay, so your prisoner position is just your hands behind your head, and that's just going to help to keep your chest up and just have nice posture while you're doing this. Definitely interlock your fingers behind your head so you can make a nice tight upright position, right? So the first movement is going to be a good morning. So push your hips back, let your chest drop, okay? And then once we get to the end range of motion in our good morning, we're going to drop our pushing out of the squat first, back into our good morning position, and then finishing the good morning by pushing our legs down and sending our hips forward. So I'm going to show you a couple more from different sides just so you can see. Big thing here is just like really staying out of those toes. It's a huge posterior movement, okay? So from the front, I'm here. I'm going to come down into my good morning. All right, when I'm in the end range of motion, I'm going to drop my hips down into the squat, push my hips out of the squat, back to the good morning, and then back up. So be careful not to like come down here and then just push yourself up. It's two movements put together, okay? Our next movement is going to be our Turkish sit-up, so 10 per arm. All right, we're going to lay on the ground in like a hollow position. We're working our core, but we're also working shoulder stability. So it really doesn't matter what the weight is overhead as long as you can stabilize it. That's the important part. So down in our bottom position, we want to have like a 45-degree angle with our arm. Our elbow is locked out, and we should feel like our shoulder is nice and sturdy. From here, we're just going to sit up into an upright position, right? Maintaining that same shoulder position, and then same thing, lowering down. That shoulder angle should never change, okay? You may find that one side is very doable and one side is not. If you have multiple different weights at your house, definitely use a different weight for the side that's less stable, okay? Your last movement is going to be a banded lat pull down. All right, so you're gonna tie a band to like an overhead position. It doesn't have to be a pull-up bar. It could be like a post, but it just needs to be higher up so that you're pulling down. You can't really see mine right now, but it's tied to the pull-up bar on top of me. So you're gonna come down into a seated position. Arms are gonna be in a neutral position, and then you wanna think about pulling your shoulder blades together and down, and you're pulling the band like to your chest, okay? So really important, you want to be careful as you pull down that you don't like sink into your shoulders and come forward. Shoulders should always stay back, and midline should always stay nice and engaged, right? So 25 of those. And that's your WOD for today. Like I said, it's not really about, crazy intensity. It's more about perfect movement. So I hope you enjoy.